Hello everybody, it's me Wattles. Today we're going to take a look at Minecraft Live. Last weekend was Minecraft Live. This year at Minecraft Live, there was a lot of big announcements, big reveals, and big postpones. There was a lot going on. You could definitely miss something. I know I did. Today that's what we're going to talk about. Small things that were mentioned or shown off in Minecraft Live. They could be brand new features coming to the game, or it could be nothing. Only time will tell. If you enjoy, smash like, subscribe for more. Let's go.
So we want to find like a unique identity for different biomes. For example, the birch forest, as you can see in this beautiful concept art. So in the birch forest, we want it to be like light and peaceful, and the sun reaches the ground. The trees are taller, and the flowers, things like that.
That's where we start today. At Minecraft Live, the 1.19 update was revealed. The 1.19 update is going to be called the Wild Update. The Wild Update is an update that will add the Deep Dark that we'll be talking about very, very soon, and update some biomes. Also things we'll be talking about today. When the Wild Update was first revealed, this beautiful birch forest concept art was shown off. What is this concept art? Genuinely, what is this concept art? So this wouldn't be the first year that the developers have shown off concept art that maybe doesn't have very much significance in the scale of the update, and this wouldn't be the first game to show off concept art that actually ends up looking nothing like the final game, but you have to admit, this art is beautiful. There's a lot to take in this birch forest concept art. First off, of course, the trees. They're all really tall. This is like the old growth birch forest biome. That's right. I myself am a man of culture. I'm using the new fancy name. It used to be the tall birch forest. So the trees are really tall. Potentially in a birch forest update, birch trees get taller. This could be a really, really nice thing, and it would make them a lot more unique when compared to these normal oak trees. Also a tangent, if we're talking about land travel for a second and we want to make the horse more useful, I think a big part of that is making the trees taller. Taller trees inside of the birch forest biome across the board could be nice. But keep in mind that just like pretty much everything else we'll be talking about today, it is not confirmed. Moving on. Inside of the birch forest biome, it looks like there are mushrooms or fungi growing up on the birch trees. This is a really nice idea. Something like this would be completely different for Minecraft. It would start to add way more detail into the game. I'm not sure if the developers would actually implement something like this or if it's just an idea for the concept art, but it looks great. And the idea of it, a brand new type of mushroom that grows on the side of blocks, more specifically living things like logs, that's really cool. Back to the tall trees. The tall trees are beautiful. I would love it if all birch trees would just grow really, really tall like this. That would be great. Maybe it even becomes the brand new alpha tree. I mean, who knows? But anyways, the tall birch trees are not only tall, but they also have branches sticking off of them, like actual logs hanging off of the side. At least some of them. That's a really cool concept too. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of obsessed with these giant oak trees. Imagining a giant birch tree that is maybe a little bit less giant, but at least has branches coming off of the thing. Yeah, that is the new alpha tree for sure. That would be amazing. Also inside of this image, brand new flower types. Maybe. I mean, when it comes to flowers in the game, more flowers are always nice, but like, I don't know, these could really just be different representations of flowers already in the game. Who knows? But there are more flowers, and then super interestingly, the other big thing that I've noticed, the log right in the middle. Minecraft Steven. Minecraft Alexis. They're both on this log on the ground, which is interesting. And also hollow. Just like the idea of fungi actually growing on the side of logs, this makes the game insanely advanced. Like, this is honestly becoming some kind of mod or something at this point. I see it as unlikely, unfortunately, but it would be amazing. Like, how cool would it be for logs to not only be able to be stripped, but also like carved out, hollowed out in the middle for like decoration? Or maybe you can't even like craft these things and you just find them on the ground in the forest and you could like silk touch them and take them with you. Or, of course, you can mine them with a normal axe, but because they're hollow, they're so brittle and they just break and turn into nothing. Such a cool idea, but also, unfortunately, probably trapped inside of the concept art forever. Moving on to the Deep Dark. Earlier this week, I dropped a video going over some Warden news that we got after Minecraft Live. During Minecraft Live, of course, we got a lot of Warden news too. When I was going back over the footage, specifically about the Warden, I was surprised to see that I couldn't really find too much. When it comes to the big reveal of the Warden, not too much went unnoticed. The developers did a pretty good job of explaining everything, and if they didn't explain it, it was pretty obvious. The focus was front and center on the Warden. The Warden comes out of the ground when you summon it now. That's actually terrifying. To actually summon the thing, move around by shriekers, they scream, it's terrifying, and then boom, Warden out of the floor. Warden-specific secrets? I couldn't find any. There was nothing specifically new about the Warden itself that I could find that I didn't cover in that video that I dropped earlier this week, but the area around the Warden, it's very interesting looking. So first off, there's a loot chest with some things inside of it. It was stated by King B-Dogs that this loot was just placeholder loot. Eventually, the loot will be changed. Also, there's a strange room. On the side of the space down here with the candles, underneath the upper walkway, it looks like there's some sort of room or space. There are a couple interesting things over here. Admittedly, it would be pretty difficult to miss the Soulfire down here. I mean, it's Soulfire, it like literally stands out. It's interesting, definitely matches the Skulk blocks, but I kind of thought it was Nether stuff. Down below the Soulfire in here was Soul Sand. Could this mean Soul Sand is actually going to generate in the overworld? I definitely hope not, and I also probably don't think so either. You see, nether things are nether things. The use of soul torches and soul fire down here, that's cool. But if soul sand all of a sudden generates in the overworld as part of these ancient cities, I mean, maybe there's lore implications, maybe for sure. But like, hasn't soul sand always been like the nether thing? Like, I don't know. I hope it was just like a placeholder or something to create a vibe and atmosphere. Hopefully that doesn't actually generate in the overworld. But maybe. When I was talking about a room underneath the upper layer, this is the space in here. We're going to go back to the footage. Pay attention to behind the Kindles. So in the footage, King B-Dogs accidentally sets off the Warden by mining a Shrieker block or something, and the Warden is basically summoned. He's looking around, and then he freaks out, and then he goes up the staircase. Right there. You see that right there? There was a skeleton skull under the staircase. Alright, too fast, not a problem. I'll roll it back in half speed this time. Watch the room underneath the staircase. So the Warden is going to literally come out of the ground here in a second. Right there, the Warden came out of the ground. King B-Dogs freaks out again and goes up the staircase, and under the staircase in that room is a skeleton skull. Like an actual, real, genuine skeleton skull. Something that you definitely can actually get in survival, but it's pretty tricky. Now, the idea of a skeleton skull generating inside of a structure, that's really interesting. It's definitely going to make the area feel way more creepy. I mean, maybe it's fine. After all, this is not a wither skeleton skull. It's just a skeleton skull, so it doesn't really do anything. It's decorational. But that could be the thing, too. It could just be decorational. Will skeleton skulls actually generate inside of the ancient cities? Well, we're going to have to wait a while to find out, but it could potentially be really, really cool. Also, there's all of the lore stuff, too, that we'll talk about when we talk about the skulks. Honestly, I'm bummed that the Warden and the Deep Dark aren't making it into 1.18, but honestly, the 1.19 Deep Dark is the Deep Dark that we all want. Like, this place is going to be really, really insane, complete with these gigantic underground cities. Now, in these underground cities, there are a couple interesting blocks that I noticed. Of course, the Deep Dark exists down low, which means deep slate everywhere. Whoever built this ancient city is the perfect builder. Inside of this hallway, the hallway with the candles though, right below some of the candles is an interesting block. Maybe. I looped the footage a couple times now, you've seen the block enough. Is it a new block, or is it just smooth basalt? It's kind of hard to tell. The texture of the two blocks looks pretty much identical, but the block in the video looks a little bit lighter. However, King B-Dogs did say on Twitter after the show that they had to lighten the footage for the show. It was too dark. Most likely this block is just smooth basalt, but to me it looked a little bit different, so I figured I'd point it out. The next thing that I noticed inside of these ancient cities is front and center, right in front of us, there are planks. Like, right there. There are planks inside of this structure. Is this a different structure, like a mineshaft generating near the ancient city? Or does it literally come with planks too? See, personally, looking at all of the footage that we've seen so far, the planks feel a little bit out of place in my opinion, but they're there. I was able to pause the video, get a screenshot of this thing, and zoom in, and yeah, they definitely just look like planks. There's planks in there. They actually go through into this hallway over there. They look like they're oak planks or something. I'm not too sure, but they're planks. Kind of random. And then, of course, the center. Inside of these ancient cities, there's some kind of massive structure in the middle with a brand new block. The block looks spiky. This is the block that I'm talking about right here, in the center. If I were to go ahead and brighten this thing up, we get a terrible looking picture. Wow. Oh boy, somebody tell that Mossy Deep Slate account on Twitter, though, about this one, because look at the Deep Slate in the top corner. Okay, don't actually tell them about this, because this could just honestly be YouTube's compression. I mean, I literally took a screenshot, and Photoshop is just trying to guess here, but you cannot lie. That looks green. That is definitely green right there, and over there, and over there. Yeah, I think it's just YouTube. But anyways, this block right in there, and really this whole structure in general. I have a guess. This thing looks like a giant warden head. If you go back to the footage, it almost looks like there's an ear right there. This would be the mouth or whatever. This would be like the rest of the warden. Kind of something like that or something, I think. A massive underground ancient city with a gigantic warden statue in the middle of the city. And the warden lives inside of the city. And there's skulk stuff everywhere. And the skulk stuff is created from mobs. From mobs. Literally. When they were showing off the brand new Skulk Catalyst block, it was mentioned that Skulk Catalyst causes the spread of Skulk. The Skulk basically grows every time you take a mob out. When you take a mob out, you get XP. The amount of XP that comes from that mob directly correlates to the amount of new Skulk that will grow in an area. It's an insane sounding mechanic and is also super interesting. It also makes me wonder if I were to move a bunch of Skulk Catalysts into the end and take out the Ender Dragon, what would happen? So move Skulk Catalyst, that's the next point that I'd like to mention. It looks like every single Skulk block is able to be picked up. How do you pick it up? It seems like you're going to need Silk Touch to pick these things up, but the Skulk Catalyst, the Shrieker, the actual Skulk blocks, it looks like you can pick these things up. All of them. That's great. I don't even want to think about how disappointing it would be to have these really, really cool new blocks added to the game, and then the developers say, nope, they generate where they generate, and you can't move them, like a spawner. Yeah, that would be a huge letdown. So it seems like you can pick up these new skulk blocks and move them around. If you move around either Shrieker enough, set it off enough times, the Warden is summoned. If I were to pick up a Shrieker and move it to my base, could I summon the Warden at my base? And the lore behind the skulk spreading, if skulk spreads when a mob goes away and all of the XP and everything, and you have these ancient cities covered in skulk, something terrible happened there. Really bad. Back to the ancient cities for one final thing. There is polished basalt inside of these ancient cities, and also wool blocks. Wool blocks are part of the ancient city generation, which is really interesting because of wool occlusion and skulk sensors. If there are wool blocks on the ground inside of these cities, that would mean whoever set these cities up was probably trying to avoid detection from the skulk. Just in case you're out of the loop, skulk sensor, wool block, move around behind the wool block, the skulk sensor can't see me. The wool block's the skulk sensor. Moving on to the swamp, the Mangrove Swamp. It was actually stated at Minecraft Live that the Mangrove Swamp is a brand new swamp biome. So it seems like the old swamp, the current one that exists in the game right now, and the Mangrove Swamp, they're going to be two completely different things. I don't know if it's intentional or not, must be, but the watercolor inside of the Mangrove Swamp is completely different than the swamp watercolor that we have right now. Also, mangrove trees all over the place. These mangrove trees are basically amazing from the sounds of things. They grow completely differently. You can plant them in the water and on the land. It's really, really cool. And when they grow on root blocks. So right here is a mangrove tree. The blocks at the bottom are actual blocks of roots. These things right there, that is such a cool concept. And then the propagules, or the saplings for the tree, they literally grow on the leaves. It sounds like you might be able to grow one of these trees and then continually harvest the saplings. If it ends up working like it sounds like it might, you might be able to plant a mangrove tree at your base, have it in like an area, and that's basically the source tree. You go over to that tree, get the saplings from it, then go plant them somewhere else and farm them. That's a cool mechanic. This was prototyping for mangrove root blocks. Also, listen to this.
I'm so happy that we went with the like multi-block routes, because for example, when you like go with a boat and then you can go under the mangroves, and I think that adds such a nice feeling to it.
So it looks like there's going to be a lot of variation in this mangrove tree growth stuff. The first mangrove tree that was shown off was clumpy down to the ground. There's no way that you could sail through that thing unless you can just pass right through the root blocks. The other ones inside the mangrove swamp though, definitely. Some of those trees you could 100% move underneath, which is another amazing concept. Honestly, mangrove tree might become my favorite tree type too. It sounds so cool. One thing I did want to mention though, the mangrove wood type looks like really nice. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the color, but it is so similar to jungle wood and acacia wood. I hope it gets changed, like maybe like a green one or something. That could be really cool. It would fit the swamp vibe. Oh yeah, and of course, there's this.
And of course, where there's a new tree, there must be a new wood type.
Yes.
When the frogs were being shown off, something about frogs falling through drip leaf was briefly mentioned. That made me think that drip leaf would be generating inside of the swamp. Technically, that wasn't confirmed, so if you saw the Minecraft Live recap video, sorry about that. But I mean, if the devs want players to experience the true beauty of frogs falling through drip leaf plants, then I think it would be a really good idea to have these things actually naturally generate in the swamp. It would also be pretty cool if the frogs' pathfinding was tied to these things. Like, they see a drip leaf in an area, they want to go over to it. It could make the frog useful for other things. And finally for today, mud. Mud is such a simple idea, but honestly, I'm so excited about it. I think it's a really, really cool addition. Right now, mud will be making up a lot of the mangrove swamp generation. Mud is literally everywhere. You can also create mud, though, by adding water to dirt, which is a really, really cool mechanic. Mud will be useful for a couple different things, including mud bricks and creating clay. I was honestly looking for another opportunity to say how amazing this mechanic actually is. So right here, renewable mud, water bottle into the dirt. It creates mud. That's very cool. Wet dirt. But right here, even better, pointed dripstone, a dripstone block, mud on top, give it time, creates clay. I don't know how they've done it, genuinely. It's such a simple concept, wet dirt. But with the addition of wet dirt, they have literally revolutionized the game. Again, I don't think I've ever been more excited for a new version of dirt to be added to the game in my entire life. Rooted dirt is great, and it looks very nice, but like, mud, like mud, like it is a game changer. I'm very excited for mud. I'm very excited for the fireflies, but oh boy, mud bricks, everything that it means, it is huge. Minecraft Live 2021, small things that might be a thing, that might not be a thing. That's gonna do it. Did you notice something else at some point in the live stream that I didn't mention in this video? If you did, definitely say something about it down below. The best subreddit on Reddit, r/waddles, would also be a great spot to put it, so put it there too. Michael A, Sortiri, and Tanner B, my patrons, big thank you to you today. And thank you all for watching. Appreciate it. All of my links are in the description. Check them out. Like and subscribe. Notification gang. I'll see you in another brand new video very soon. Goodbye.